If you haven't been there, you're welcome to come. But everybody knows Las Vegas. You know that's the main revenue generator for our state? Tourism and travel. Tourism and travel. Do you know what happens when you impose high tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on some of our allies like Canada? That means we're not seeing people traveling, international traveling, coming to Las Vegas and to this country. Do you know the United States benefits $12 billion from international travelers? Over $20 billion annually in 2024. That's not happening now. I can tell you, in my state, as I talk to folks in my hotels and casinos, and I talk to individuals who are focused on travel and tourism, we are not seeing that. We are seeing a downturn in the types of travel coming to Las Vegas. It is having a negative impact, not just directly for those businesses, but indirectly for the small businesses. And by the way, Donald Trump may think this is a short-term hurt, but what he doesn't realize is 90% of American small businesses say trade is an important function for their growth, and they have a profit margin that is very slim. They are not going to be able to survive whatever Donald Trump thinks that this is some short-term hurt. Small businesses, which are the backbone of our economy, are getting crushed right now. I know it because I just heard from my small businesses. One of them lost a contract with a Canadian contractor. We're seeing it all the time. Any of my small businesses that directly or indirectly deal in tourism travel, they're getting crushed. The tariffs, the policies of the Senate Republicans thinking they can add to the deficit and the debt to pay for, to help billionaires and the wealthy in this country on the backs of the American people and small businesses. It's just...
So United States tourism is plummeting in the billions. Billions of dollars, that is. And you know how folks often tell international communities how much they need our tourism dollars? A lot of Americans forget that their own cities thrive off of tourism. In 2023 alone, the United States travel and tourism market contributed to $2.36 trillion. And the cities and states that rely heavily on hotel taxes, sales taxes, and other tourism-related fees, less tourism for you means less funding in education, transit, and infrastructure.
Catastrophic and unprecedented $12.5 billion loss for tourism. You heard me correctly, $12.5 billion loss just in 2025. This is going to be catastrophic for the United States of American tourism. People are not coming for business travel. They are not coming for conventions. They are not coming here for vacation. They are not coming here because of the trade war, because we are now actually on a national human rights watch list. You heard me correctly. For the first time ever, the United States of America is a danger to human rights. States like Florida, California, Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, and other major tourist cities are going to suffer devastating consequences. Have you changed your plans to travel for work, personal, or business to the United States or in between states? This is going to be an economic disaster we may never recover from. Las Vegas tourism is suffering. Therefore, the state of Nevada is suffering, especially also Reno is a gaming town. Used to say everybody had a love for America, and now a lot of them don't. In less than 7 months, Donald J. Trump, the one person alone, has destroyed America. We are on a worldwide boycott for tourism as well as goods. Nevada voted red. Las Vegas is blue. But as you know, we will all suffer the consequences of MAGA voters and Donald J. Trump.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, Africans. I hope you're faring well where you are, and if you ain't faring well, please fare well where you are. Yeah. They say consequences, choices have consequences. And whatever you reap, so you shall sow. Or whatever you sow, so shall you reap. Whichever. But remember, we have consequences to actions, right? Remember when Trump was planning his immigration laws, right? He was planning his deportation. He had to make some very, very hard changes to the immigration laws of the United States of America. And this has, of course, come with severe consequences, right? First thing that has happened is we've had a drop in U.S. tourism. Yes, we've had a drop. It's been dropped for quite a while now. It's been dropped, but every day that we wake up, it's getting lower and lower each day. You understand? And now here we have also fewer visitors from Western Europe and also Central America are visiting this country of the United States of America. So we have less visitors from Eastern Europe, less visitors from Central America, and now even planes, yes, planes, the commercial planes that carry close to 200 plus people, right, are going almost empty. Those planes that are going to America are going almost empty because nobody wants to visit America because they think that they will be embarrassed when they go there because of the Trump's policies, right? Another thing is that there has been a loss of 12.5 billion US dollars. 12.5 billion US dollars has been lost ever since Trump brought about his policies, and the people who are supposed to be tourists have refused to travel to the USA. By the way, if it were you, would you travel to such a place? I'd really love to know what you think, you know? You see, the immigration policies, you know, is hurting, and it's really hurting the US tourism sector, right? And another thing is that you guys know, you've heard, most likely you've heard, if you're not an American, you must have heard of a place called Vegas. And we have a saying that says, if you go to Vegas, leave what happens in Vegas in Vegas. So Vegas is like the sin city of the United States of America, because we have a lot of tourists who travel to America going there, right? So this is same Vegas has laid off a lot of workers because right now they do not have the capacity to pay their workers. They don't have that capacity, right? Because of the policies, and now tourists are not coming, and now there's no employment, right? So it's a domino effect. It starts with Trump and it goes all the way to big things such as people losing employment and livelihood, right? So I want us to listen to real case studies. Let's listen to them. I shall get back by the end of the video, of course, where we shall also have a deep critical analysis. Let's dive in.
The U.S. is tracking a big drop in tourism from around the world. Take a look at this. Travel from Canada and Mexico was down double digits in March. We're also seeing fewer visitors from Western Europe, Central and South Asia, South America, I should say.
Here in New York, tourism is also being hit big time, once again driven by negative sentiment toward the USA.
Something strange is happening in 2025. For decades, the United States stood tall as the dream destination, the land of skyscrapers, movie stars, and bucket list vacations. But this year, that dream is cracking. Global tourism is changing fast, and for the first time in a generation, the U.S. isn't on the winning side. In the past, travelers came not just for the views, but for what America represented: freedom, innovation, opportunity. But now, concerned, people are second-guessing. They're skipping the Statue of Liberty, avoiding Times Square, choosing other destinations. Not because of distance or price, but because something deeper is shifting. In country after country, we're seeing the same pattern: hesitation. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady and growing. Business travel is stalling. Student exchanges are declining. Entire airline routes are quietly disappearing, and the data doesn't lie. In 2025, American tourism is no longer the safe bet it once was. According to the U.S. Travel Association's April snapshot, international visits have dropped significantly across key regions, including Western Europe. What's causing this? It's not one big moment. It's a combination of many. Let's talk about trust. Across Europe and Asia, travelers report rising concerns about U.S. immigration, long border waits, aggressive questioning, even racial profiling. National headlines are filled with stories of detentions and visa denials, even for professionals and students. These aren't rumors. They're real events, documented, shared, and amplified. In Germany, the government officially updated its travel guidance after several German citizens, including students, were detained at American airports. According to Reuters, the German Foreign Ministry stated that even a valid visa no longer guarantees entry into the U.S. In Japan, NHK, the national broadcaster, covered multiple incidents of engineers and tourists being held for hours by U.S. customs officers, fueling frustration among businesses and universities. And in Australia, SmartTraveller, the government's travel advisory service, issued multiple warnings about inconsistent airport security and increased scrutiny at U.S. borders. Meanwhile, Flight Centre, the country's largest travel agency, reported a 16% drop in U.S. bookings while travel to Japan and New Zealand surged. On social media, Australians share stories of invasive phone checks, long delays, and general unease.
I was questioned by one of the officers, and then shortly after, my mother and I were taken into a room. We were held there for quite some time before my mum was released, and then I was unfortunately remaining behind for further interrogation, and then that was about a 4 to 5 hour ordeal before I was taken to the federal detention center.
News.com.au ran a widely shared article describing first-hand accounts of travelers being ordered to unlock their phones or face immediate deportation. This isn't just about tourism anymore. It's about identity, values, reputation. For many international travelers, America once symbolized optimism. Now, it often represents uncertainty. And let's not ignore the political elephant in the room. Serious tariffs, trade tensions, diplomatic friction. These don't just impact policy, they ripple down to everyday travelers. Flights get cut, insurance premiums rise, confidence in the travel experience falters. And the response has been swift. In Canada, the country's closest neighbor, Forbes reported that in April alone, air travel to the U.S. from Canada dropped nearly 20%, while land border crossings fell over 35%. Canadian media and forums are filled with discussions urging travelers to skip the States and spend their money elsewhere. Global news highlighted a growing trend: Canadians canceling Florida vacations and buying properties in Portugal or Mexico instead. Realistic airlines are responding too. Air Canada has reduced routes to U.S. cities and increased flights to Latin America and Europe. The truth is, the world still wants to believe in the U.S. The culture, the music, the technology, it's still admired, but concerned. But in 2025, admiration isn't enough. What people want now is respect, safety, and consistency. In France, Le Monde published a front-page piece suggesting that America has lost its romantic image. French travel agencies report double-digit declines in U.S. bookings, with many travelers now opting for Spain, Greece, or Quebec. The French no longer view the U.S. as a guaranteed ally. Polls show that over 70% of French citizens now hold unfavorable views of American leadership. Can this trend reverse? Absolutely. But it's going to take work, and not just flashy advertising campaigns. It will require reforming how America treats foreign visitors. That means clearer border policies, cultural sensitivity training, and deeper cooperation with foreign consulates. Because tourism isn't just economics, it's diplomacy, it's storytelling, it's how people relate to a place before they ever step foot in it. And when visitors stop coming, it's not just lost money, it's lost trust, lost relationships. If America wants to remain a beacon of inspiration, it must repair more than runways. It must repair its image. Maybe that starts with empathy, with realizing that every traveler, every passport carries a story and deserves dignity. What do you think? Is the U.S. still the dream destination it once was? Or are we witnessing a quiet unraveling of something much bigger?
Nobody wants to come to the U.S. anymore. At the beginning of 2025, tourism was estimated to be up about 6.2% this year. So going into 2025, we're going to see a 6.2% increase in tourism. By August, tourism is down almost 8.2% at a loss of $12.5 billion. Nobody wants to come here to this. Who would want to come to a police state nation where the National Guard and all the police and federal agents and ICE are picking people up in masks and people are being detained and disappearing. You got law enforcement on every corner. Who would want to spend their vacation here and deal with that? Who would want to bring their family to a police military zone? Hell, the citizens in the cities aren't even coming out no more. They're staying in the house because they don't want to be bothered with all the stress and BS coming from all the officers detaining people, pulling people over, stopping people, walking up to people sitting on park benches. What's going on? Who would want to be in this type of environment? Like, everybody around the world hates us right now, and they're looking at us just waiting for us to implode, honestly. Both our neighbors to the north and south, Canada and Mexico, want nothing to do with us, don't want us there, and they don't want to come here. They don't want to do business with us. Nobody is feeling any kind of love for the U.S. right now because of our, I won't say, just DJT. Let alone the fact that nobody wants to do business with us due to the tariffs that you impart. So now that you've put the tariffs on everyone, nobody wants to hire. Nobody has money to make new jobs. Nobody wants to import. Nobody wants to export. Nobody wants to deal with the U.S. We look like a country on the edge. We look like we have no idea what's happening in the world. We have incompetent leadership, turning a blind eye to genocide, turning a blind eye to people suffering, rounding up their own people, citizens, veterans, unfortunate, underprivileged, people that fell victim to this system. And there's no heart, there's no intellect, there's no empathy, nothing being shown to the citizens here from the administration that's in charge. Nobody wants to come here. I wouldn't want to come here.
By the numbers. Following tariff announcements against our neighbor to the north, flight reservations from Canada to the U.S. are down 70% through September compared to last year. That's according to OAG Aviation Worldwide. Plus, U.S. summer bookings by European tourists have fallen by 25%.
Gee, I wonder why. I feel like pretty much we're like that one crazy neighbor on the street, and then everyone else on that street does not like us. Yeah, that's the orange guy in the office. It's like, you know, when you jokingly threaten to take over other countries, such as Canada and Greenland, and then also the Panama Canal, people are not going to take it lightly. Also, when you decide to try to tariff everyone, people are not going to be happy about that. And with tourism pretty much taking a hit in this country, the entire hospitality industry is going to feel it. Along with the potential of that 245% tariff on China, that hospitality industry is going to take a hit because I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff that they use in the hotels and in the casinos and like pretty much anywhere, a lot of it probably comes from China. So those independently owned hotels, restaurants, and anything else that involves tourism are probably going to suffer the most. And in the large corporations, the employees are probably going to be the ones that feel it because they'd probably get laid off, while the executives at those huge chains will probably still get their bonuses. And unemployment will probably go up because of this as well. You see how everything kind of causes a ripple effect?
It turns out foreign visitors are shunning the United States. We're seeing an increasing number of international travelers choose to go elsewhere. Fresh research from Oxford Economics estimates that the U.S. is going to see an $8.5 billion drop-off in spending from foreign visitors this year. And some estimates are even more staggering. You've got the World Travel and Tourism Organization estimating a $12.5 billion drop-off in spending this year. And we're already seeing it show up in the numbers. When you look at flight bookings to the United States between May and July, they're off more than 10%.
Another day, another way that Donald Trump is actively making life worse for the very people who voted for him, this time in Florida. Mother Jones has a story on how Canadians, they don't want to travel to the U.S. right now. I mean, shocker, Donald Trump has done everything he can to alienate our neighbor Canada. Why would Canadians want to spend their money in the U.S.? Our president has threatened to invade them. Trump's illegal tariffs are hurting their economy. Tourists are being snatched up by ICE and detained for days and weeks. There have been tourists from multiple countries across Europe, as well as Canada, who have been abducted by ICE and held for long periods. For no reason at all. Why would you want to vacation somewhere where the American Gestapo might snatch you up? Where the leader of that country has threatened to invade your homeland? And I was actually surprised by this Mother Jones article, despite the fact that my parents lived for many years in Fort Myers. I wasn't really aware of how much Canadians are vital to the economy of Florida. In Orlando, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis brushed off reports that Canadians are increasingly not visiting the Sunshine State. As evidence, DeSantis cited his family's recent trip to Legoland, where he claimed that 80% of the people who were there were Canadians. Yeah, okay, bro, we believe you. So Canadians are the largest proportion, nearly 28% of all international travelers visiting Florida. And according to the Canadian Embassy, Canadians also comprise the largest number of international visitors to the entire U.S.
The America First policy that the Trump administration has been implementing is killing foreign tourism to the United States. We are just now learning about an incident that happened mid-March where 2 German teenagers arrived in Hawaii and were strip searched and detained overnight in the latest example of U.S. border officials treating tourists harshly. These 2 German women were 18 and 19 years old when they landed in Honolulu on March 18th and aroused suspicions because they did not have accommodations booked for their entire 5-week trip. The 2 women were accused of intending to work illegally in the United States and were allegedly strip searched and subjected to full body scans, then dressed in green prison uniforms while they were held in a deportation holding center. The pair requested to be deported to Japan rather than Germany, so that's where they were sent. The pair did have ESTA travel authorization. This incident prompted Germany's Foreign Office to issue a reminder to citizens that even with ESTA travel authorization, entry into the United States is not guaranteed. This incident and others like it has foreigners planning to travel to the United States having second thoughts. Many have changed their plans. Some are in protest of the Trump administration. The Research for Tourism Economics now sees a 5.1% decline in visits to the United States from foreign tourists.
Well, folks, here's the truth. Donald Trump's policies didn't just close our borders. They wrecked our economy. Tourism to the United States is down 61%. That means empty hotels, shuttered restaurants, and millions of jobs lost in cities like Las Vegas, New York, Miami, and right here at home. Why? Because Trump made America unwelcoming. His trade wars, his anti-immigration rhetoric, his fear-based policies drove tourists and businesses away. While Europe and Asia recovered, we fell behind.
While MAGA diehards keep chanting, "We don't care," every time someone points out the cost of Donald Trump's policies, international tourists are quietly delivering the one response that matters in Trump's America, which is they're not coming to the United States for vacations. We have new data now from the World Travel and Tourism Council. The U.S. is on track to lose over $12 billion in international travel spending this year. That's a decline of 7%. It's not because suddenly the sand on the beaches is no good. It's not because the theme parks got rid of everybody's favorite ride. It's because the rest of the world sees what the United States under Donald Trump has become: expensive, hostile, and unstable.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So tourism season is upon us. And I can tell you what the United States is seeing. The United States is seeing a huge dramatic drop in international visitors to the United States. Now, those visitors contribute millions to billions of dollars of tourism dollars all across the United States, and specifically heavily in Florida, because everybody undoubtedly in Europe thinks that Florida is that Disneyland is the greatest place in the world to go. I don't understand that, but Florida's getting hammered on the tourism end, but it's also across the entire United States. Now, 18 million jobs are in the tourism industry. And when you're starting to lose billions of dollars, what you're going to do is you're going to lose jobs. You're going to lose revenues for small businesses. You're going to lose hotel motel taxes that support some things in local government. So the real deal is here. The world doesn't want to come to the United States, which has always been one of the top tourist destinations in the world. We're going to lose that title this year, and we know who we can owe that to. Congratulations on reducing the income for businesses that rely on tourism.
Catastrophic loss to tourism in Florida just from Canadians.
A lot of them will not come because of Trump and what was going on with Canada. They just don't want to come and spend their money here. The cost of living here has changed a lot. Everything went up.
It's no secret Canadian snowbirds haven't been flocking to South Florida lately. President Trump's immigration rules and tariffs have caused controversy in Canada.
The greater Fort Lauderdale is expecting up to 150,000 fewer visitors from Canada. You know, they make up one of the largest groups of international visitors to South Florida. According to Visit Lauderdale, Canadian visitors...
Trump has cost South Florida $90 million and climbing just from Canadians. Just from Canadians. But wait, it gets worse. Did you know the entire world is boycotting the United States of America in tourism? Did you know that we are right now on track to lose $31 billion in tourism alone just in 2025? And that is an estimate. And yes, it has grown. Trump is destroying the USA. Do you agree? Have you canceled your trips to the US?
So after carefully listening to these specific stories and these specific events, you know, it is very unfortunate that people who are very innocent are suffering the consequences of their leaders. It's very, very unfortunate that individuals with whom, you know, a leader should work to help elevate the livelihood of its people, right? The government should serve the people. The government should serve the people so that they can have a better life, right? And that is what China is doing. You see, China might be a communist country, but it is a hybrid country. It uses the hybrid economic system, whereby it uses both capitalism and socialism, right? So, communism. Now, the communism, you find that half of the factories in the United States of America, in China, for instance, are government owned, right? Half of it, while the other half is owned by the private sectors. Now, these private sectors, companies like Microsoft, companies like Apple, companies like Tesla, companies like LG, Samsung, you know, because China provides free labor, right? So it has put both hybrid and communist ideologies to integrate for a better economic outcome, right? So here I am back looking at a situation with black people. I'm here looking at a situation where the American society is now implementing laws to protect the ego of the American government, while at the same time they are in a position to you see, the US government puts more emphasis on war, on buying war machines, on being a superpower, you know, inventing this and that for machineries. But the people, in fact, those small marginalized communities are not really taken good care of. For instance, is the blacks. For instance, another instance is the Latinas. So they invest so much on what is not needed, right? So the immigration policies were there to take away people, to take out people, to keep a certain ethnicity. I believe so. It might be different. Well, a reason for deportation can be so many, but if I try and look at it from a certain mindset, I see it was like an ethnic, I want to call it cleansing. It was done in an ethnic line, right? To keep a certain ethnicity in America while removing others. And what's that? That's racism, right? So the immigration laws, which were rooted on racism, are now causing catastrophic failures to the economy of the United States of America. Actually, they are now losing because of the actions of the President Donald Trump, right? And here's where you find that a leader should put the people, or a country should put its citizens first before any other thing, right? So tell me, those people who have been laid off in Las Vegas, how are they going to meet their family. Those men, how are they going to tell their families? Because the value of a man, sometimes it's in the power of your provision. Don't lie to me. That is it. All men. So many of us. That is how we get our essence. Even with the people we say that we love, that is how we get our essence. So tell me, how does that man go back home and say, I was laid off today? How do they explain it to their families? How? It's hard, you see. These policies are breaking families. That is how I look at it. Maybe you have another idea, right? A government should work in such a way that it knows how to meet. It doesn't have to be extreme. It knows how to integrate what works for the people and what works for them. As they integrate them, the gears now move smoothly, and we find it better for the society and the government. But now it's only better for the government, but not good for the society. Yes. This is EFK Original Documentaries. If you have anything you want to share with me, kindly share. I'd really love to hear from you. Yes. See you in the next one. And always stay positive.